Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Medical news today. Most medical guides refer to the thumb as a finger. There you go. All of today's guests, including Craig Button, who has thumbs, brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. Book your stay at the Bayside and enjoy the many amenities the hotel has to offer, such as oceanfront rooms, free parking, oceanfront restaurant, cafe, indoor and outdoor swimming pools, gym, and more. Call 250-248-8333. Go to their website, BaysideResortParksville.com, as we bring in, for the last time this season, TSN Scouting Director Craig Button. Craig, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I am really good, but when you say thumbs up, you don't go fingers up. I'm not buying this thumb as a finger. It's 4 fingers and 1 thumb.
This is a website, Medical News Today.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess they know more than you and I about fingers and thumbs.
I'm not buying. Listen, I've never heard my doctor or any doctor ever say, you know what? I've heard doctors say he's got a broken thumb. I've never said he's got a broken finger where his thumb is. I've heard a lot of doctors, we got to reset the broken thumb. I don't know what website you're reading, Donnie, but I ain't buying.
Well, Craig, the big question is, were the Canucks all thumbs yesterday when it came to acquiring new players? What do the Canucks have in Jake DeBrusk?
Well, how many times, and I say this just, when I'm asking the question, how many times do we hear Rick Tocchet talk about playing strong along the wall? Playing strong along
all the time.
Below the goal line, playing strong. Yeah, that's right. So all the time. Well, that's what Jake DeBrusk delivers. That's how Jake DeBrusk plays the game. When you think about an opportunity to play with Elias Pettersson and the way that Jake plays, you're looking now at a player that will open up space for Elias Pettersson. You're looking at somebody that will finish around the net and will be able to bump players off the puck, create opportunities. Jake's a really smart player. And when you go back and you look at Boston, they lose Krejci, they lose Patrice Bergeron. They didn't have an elite playmaking center. I don't care who you are, not named David Pastrnak, that's going to hurt you somewhat. And I think that Jake coming over to the Vancouver Canucks and having the opportunity to play for Rick Tocchet, to bring what he brings in abundance to the team, and to play with Elias Pettersson, I talk about being smart. If you want to play with Elias Pettersson, you have to be a smart player. Jake is smart. Jake is hard. Jake will hold pucks. Jake will create opportunities. So when you start to think about, we talked a lot about Gensel, but when you start to think about the money for Gensel, now the money for Jake DeBrusk, I think Jake is a really nice fit for the Vancouver Canucks. I think he's a really good fit for Elias Pettersson. And it also gives the Vancouver Canucks more opportunity to spend dollars in other areas to fortify the team. And I think it's a really good, strong signing for the Vancouver Canucks.
So thumbs up on Jake DeBrusk. What about Danton Heinen, Craig, who's from these parts?
Danton's a skilled player, and Danton finds himself in the lineup when he plays to his strengths and he plays to his skills. He finds himself out of the lineup when he becomes what I would call light in his skill area. It's flexibility for Rick Tocchet again. If you're asking Danton Heinen to play up in the lineup, I think you're extending him beyond his capabilities. But if you use Danton in different areas of the lineup in terms of trying to get him into the right matchups where he can handle the challenges, I think Danton can be a contributor. One of the things that Rick Tocchet has shown, and I think shown in a real significant way, is taking players for what they do and then just saying to them, listen, here's what you do, now go and do it. He's not going to ask Danton Heinen to go out and bang around and be Dakota Joshua, but he wants Danton Heinen, when you got the puck, be strong with the puck. Don't be giving up the puck. Don't be flipping loose, soft plays into the middle of the ice. Those types of things. And I think Danton can adapt, and certainly that type of skill, if Danton can give you 15, 18 goals, well, that's good production for where Heinen comes in. And certainly you will see moments next year, you will see stretches where, and you may even see healthy scratches with Danton. But at the end of the day, knowing what you're getting, knowing that, resets, taking them out of the lineup, putting them back in, that's what they're getting. But 15 to 18 goals isn't easy to come by.
Hey, Craig, July 1st, some interesting, as always, some interesting contracts. What do you think of Chris Tanev, age 34, getting 6 years?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the 6 years is kind of reducing the AAV. I mean, Come on. I mean, there was one player that played at 40 this year, and that was Mark Giordano, and he was playing on a minimum contract. Donnie and Rick, you know Chris Tanev as well as anybody. You know that he gives everything he has. And the aging curve for a player at 34, let alone a player that plays that hard, that plays that competitive, I think if the Toronto Maple Leafs can get 4 years out of Chris Tanev, it'll be fantastic. And certainly we'll see what unfolds after that. But, we see that teams, and Toronto's a big spending team. They can take the last couple of years, put them on LTIR. Chris gets his money over the 6 years. Toronto gets a little bit of flexibility with the back end of the contract, but that's how I see it playing out. He just plays too hard and too invested physically to last to 40. And to understand, like Mark Giordano played at the minimum or near the minimum, and he wasn't very functional at 40. And I don't think Chris Tanev at $4.5 million is going to be functional at 40.
Craig, the NHL draft, that's where you shine every year. What team, you left Vegas, what team did you say, holy smokes, they had a really good draft?
Yeah, I think, Rick, you always have to kind of consider where teams are picking and where they're at in the draft. Or it's hard to say that the San Jose Sharks didn't have a really good draft. I mean, you start to look at the players they were able to acquire. I mean, they get a number one center, the complete player, Macklin Celebrini. They end up because they made a trade from 14 to 11. Yep. They wanted a defenseman. And they knew they were not going to get one of those six top defenders at 14. So they traded up to 11. Lo and behold, they get Sam Dickinson, a really good, strong, well-rounded defender. So, you're trying to maximize where you're at in the draft and trying to get players. I think Montreal getting Demidov was really significant. They come back with Michael Haig at 21. They traded up to get to that spot. And they need skill. They need more skill in their top group of forwards. They got lots of good defenders. We know they have a top line. Now they're starting to build out in those other areas. I just look at those two teams as teams that are trying to move forward. And I think they got, in both cases, two players for both those teams that are really, really solid, like different. They have a chance to be difference makers. Macklin Celebrini, I think Demidov was the second best player in this draft. Then you get Dickinson, you get Michael Haig, who has a lot of potential. Just looking for where they fit into those two organizations, I think those are nice fits. Hey, listen, we're gonna look back. I know what the numbers are. 40 to 45 players are going to play 350 games or more in the NHL to varying degrees. At least 10 players drafted in the first round are not going to have any type of NHL career. Wow. Those are the numbers. I'd like to tell you who it is now. I don't know who it is, but every single player that was selected in the first round, the team that select them, is excited about what the future holds. The reality is that in 4 or 5 years' time, we're going to see that the numbers are going to shake out, just as I mentioned just now.
Wow.
Craig, we're in Vancouver. We know all about those first-round numbers. You don't have to tell us that.
We had no pick in round 1 or 2.
How about your Norris Trophy winner at 7? How about your Norris Trophy winner at 7? Let's not forget what a significant pick that was.
No kidding. Back to the Canucks for a second, and you talk about Quinn Hughes. He's excited that the Canucks got Kiefer Sherwood from Nashville because he was a pain in the neck for Quinn Hughes and the Canucks in the playoffs. What do you think?
Well, the players, I always say this. Serge Savard Sr. told me this years ago. He said, when I became a manager, he gave me some advice, great advice. He said, Greg, just keep this in mind. The players always know, and they always know first. So Quinn Hughes playing a 6-game series versus the Nashville Predators, he now sees, boy, Kiefer Sherwood, because you know what Andrew Burnett was telling Kiefer Sherwood, be hard on Quinn Hughes. So Quinn Hughes has to deal with that shift in, shift out, and the players know who's really good and who's hard to play against, who gives you a little bit of an easier time. So That's a great endorsement from a Norris Trophy winning defenseman. I want to add this one thing too about Quinn Hughes. We talked about Philip Hronek. We talked about what a great compliment, interplay, how he plays with Quinn Hughes, and how Quinn Hughes talked about Philip Hronek in terms of how Philip helps Quinn be able to play his game and how valuable he is, and how excited he was about Philip being re-signed by the Vancouver Canucks. I think that's all you need to hear. And Quinn is a tremendous defenseman. He's a tremendous leader, and he just continues to demonstrate it in every single fashion.
Craig, we mentioned this is our last hit with you as we take our summer break. We can't thank you enough. Quality, as always. Have yourself a great summer, my friend.
And you guys have a great summer, too. I say this, I said it to Ryan every Tuesday, joining you is something that I get excited about. You two provide so much great content for the Vancouver Canucks fans, passionate Canucks fans. To be part of it is really, truly something that I enjoy, and I feel really honored that you asked me to be part of your show.
Right back at you. Thanks, Craig. All the best.
Thank you.